things you said you'd never do till hell freezes over. Well, it has. Is it a cold day in hell?
It's a damn cold day in hell.
So I don't know if this documentary is the talk of your town, but it is out here because it didn't just expose a dangerous workplace. It also exposed hypocrisy. Because it must be pointed out that when the evil governor of Florida was saying the exact same thing about kids and creepy stuff at Disney that liberals now find intolerable at Nickelodeon, he was dismissed as a hick and a bigot. But why would a kids' content factory like Disney be all that different than the one at Nickelodeon? A 2014 CNN report discovered that at least 35 Disney employees had been arrested for sex crimes against children, and in 2021, Disney child star Allison Stoner confessed she only narrowly survived the toddler to train wreck pipeline. The next year, child star Cole Sprouse told the New York Times that young actresses at the Disney Channel were heavily sexualized from an early age. You know, Willie Sutton said he robbed banks because that's where the money is. And the reason we find pedophiles in the Boy Scouts and the Rectory and kids' TV is that's where the kids are. DeSantis wasn't wrong, but we're so tribal now, the left will overlook child fucking if the guy from the wrong party calls it out. Sure, Nickelodeon messed up Amanda Bynes, but the Mickey Mouse Club was where Britney Spears got her start, and she's perfectly fine.
Welcome to Unsanctioned.
Property taxes might sound like just another line item on your bill, but they're actually your investment in a community. Your money funds, among other things, the schools your children attend, maintains the roads you drive on, and ensures that emergency services are there when you need them most. By understanding where this money goes, you become a more informed person, capable of advocating for how your community develops. It's not just about paying taxes, it's about seeing your community grow, thrive because of them. Dive into how these funds are allocated. You might be surprised at how much of a difference you can make by just getting involved and being informed.
Yeah, welcome to another episode of Unsanctioned Florida. That could have been the whole show. We could have had about another 2 hours of headlines explaining to you why Osceola County does not deserve any more of your tax dollars. Yeah. They have the scoundrels have completely just run amok with your tax money. And the idea that a county commissioner would come up there and smile and say, oh, tax dollars are great. You should love paying your property taxes, right? Because this goes to its education. Education is at the bottom. Osceola County is 66 out of 67 counties in education. Oh, well, you know, these impact fees go to road. Traffic, Osceola County's #1 out of the entire state in traffic, beating out Miami and Tampa.
And they're going to the state and the Fed looking for the money. They're not using our tax dollars to fix the roads.
I mean, it couldn't get any worse. Well, welcome to another episode of Unsanctioned Florida, as I just said. This is let's go through the headlines here, but this is episode 14. Is it 14?
14, yeah,
14, yeah, since we broke the show up. And we got a packed show. Maybe go a little bit long tonight because
this is a supersized
show. Yeah. So we could have had 100 things there. I'll tell another one is forget it. Let's just move on. Okay, there's 500 examples of the county misusing our money. All right. So next, we got liberal press hopes Dems flip Florida. Did you know that the Dems were going to flip Florida? I don't think that there's a chance. The first segment was, the first video was hell freezes over. Yeah, that's about when the Dems will flip Florida. Dems bring lobotomy John to Disney, fight for swifties, and admit that you have to be high to be a leftist. We all knew that already. Yeah. Matt Gaetz gets a challenger in CD1, and Republican Lieb challenges Wasserman-Shultz, making there's potential for Wasserman-Shultz to lose her seat, especially with all the stuff going on now.
Let's pray for that.
Let's pray for that. A sheriff is under investigation. We'll talk to you about which one. Pretrial bill could cost taxpayers millions. College numbers, impressive. We don't know. We're going to talk about that. Osceola begs for help for developers benefit. And more toll roads. More toll roads. You know, they can't build the roads to get you anywhere in less than an hour in Central Florida, but they're going to build more toll roads. Okay. Melendez found not guilty for sexual battery, but he's still a dirtbag. Sunrail finances a train wreck, and more on this episode of Unsanctioned Florida. So let's say a quick prayer. Today is the National Day of Prayer, actually. Yeah. And today I was at National Day of Prayer. Many of our friends were. We saw all over Facebook people celebrating the National Day of Prayer. And so we're going to say a little prayer in honor of that. Lord, today is the National Day of Prayer. Every day should be the National Day of Prayer. Every day should be a National Day of Prayer. Every day. Every day of our lives, every day in this country, because we have so many reasons to be thankful, and prayer is not just for asking for your blessings, but for sharing our gratefulness for all the blessings that you've already bestowed upon us. Today, many people across the country were praying for just inspiration to get our country back. And today I heard prayers for children, for firefighters, for policemen, for all the people exercising their civic duties. Lord, I just pray that you raise men and women to be people of courage today. That's what we need. We need people to rise up, stand against bad government, stand up against the level of corruptions that we see that made this country like all the others, when we know that this country was intended by you to be different from all the others. So we pray as hard as we can possibly pray that you start to rise up leaders that will make us proud, not leaders that will take us astray. In your son's name, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
All right, let's get in. What do we got first, Tom?
All right, let's start off with the state of Florida. All right, so unbelievable as it may sound, one Florida paper, John, is giving hope to the Democrat Party that they have an opening to win the state.
What are the chances there?
What are the chances, right?
What are the
chances that they're going to win the state? There's our
That's
lovely
not the chance right there.
Democrat Party chair there, Nikki Fried.
Yeah, she's not going to get you across the finish line.
No, not at all. So this columnist from the Palm Beach Post believes that Florida Democrats have an opening this election to overcome recent Republican advantages here in Florida. The issue is whether Democrats will make a play for Florida or write off its electoral college votes in 2024, wrote John A. Turs, opinion contributor for the Post. Yeah.
What do you think? Are they going to write it off? Well, let's look at this. They sent a team here in Florida to do the presidential election, and that team consisted of, I think it was like some middle-level guy, who nobody's ever met, some college dropout, some, it was like the worst of the worst. They sent a team of 3 people that they knew were not going to be of any consequence in Florida. Why? Because they sent all their best people, all the high flying guys. They sent those people to states where they could win, where they needed to win. Yeah. Because they've already discounted the Florida Electoral College.
And I think we're going to show multiple examples of that throughout the night tonight. So,
I mean, they got a lot of problems. The Democrats can't stay out of their own way, right? Their policies are almost as bad as their decision making. Yeah. So no, it's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. And The column relied on citing popular vote results of past presidential elections in Florida, swinging in both Democrat and Republican directions over the past several decades, and not very frequently by wide margins in recent years. Torres, though, failed to mention 2024's recent local elections where the GOP flipped multiple areas from blue to red and trounced a large portion of the Democrats' take-back local candidates. Not to mention, the Republican Party of Florida is on the verge of leading state Democrats by 900,000 or more voters. An unprecedented
I think that
margin.
surpassed that 900,000 now.
Yeah, it might be almost approximately a million swing from the 2020 presidential election. So, yeah, I keep up hope, Democrats, but you don't have a chance.
No, not to win.
No, it's over. It's over. But and we're going to show another example of why that is, and it's this. The Democrats have a Jewish problem. The Jewish Democrats accuse party leaders of religious insensitivity, and this is an old story, but it brings the point back home, John. In Miami, Democrats refused to reschedule a special election for a county chairman, and it was on one of the last nights of Passover, prompting Jewish members to accuse the party of insensitivity to their religion.
Here's the funny thing. Are you kidding me? You're going to make a special election on a holy day to a big portion of your voters, number one, right? And then number two, you have all the stuff that's going on in Israel. You have Democrats right now protesting with the Palestinian flag. It was just in January, right, that they had crossed the border, invaded Israel, killed, raped, murdered children, men, and women in Israel. It was just levels of barbarity that we normally don't see. Yeah. And now the Democrats are putting a special election on the last night of Passover. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, they can't get anything right.
No. And this is the thing. These are the divisions within the party that we see right now, John, and they're not going away. They're just getting worse.
If they weren't so bad, right, then maybe they could capitalize on the Republican mistakes, right? Because the Republican Party of Florida also makes mistakes, and they've made errors, but they can't take advantage of those errors because they're even worse. They're far worse.
Yeah, we've been talking about them on this show in recent history. So, but anyway, to get on from that, the Florida Democrats are having their convention this weekend at Walt Disney World. They're going to be at the Contemporary Resort. They're going to be there all weekend, John. And they announced who their keynote speaker is going to be. Do we have any guess as to who the keynote speaker is going to be at the Blue Gala? No?
Somebody with a big scar on their forehead?
Somebody we know very well.
Delegation in fracture.
Yep, it's me, John. It's him. We haven't played that in a long time, but it says today, but this was Tuesday. The Democrat Party of Florida announced that Senator John Fetterman will deliver the keynote address at the 2024 Leadership Blue Gala on Saturday, May 4th at the Walt Disney World Resort, Contemporary Resort.
Man, this is bad. Like when you look at Republicans, when Republicans protest a really bad speaker, right? It's like somebody like Lindsey Graham. Right? Republicans, Lindsey Graham will get on stage and Republicans will be like, boo, this rhino, whatever. But he's not catastrophically bad like John Fetterman, who can't put two words together.
Yeah.
Right? He can't, this is so bad. How bad? It's the bottom of the barrel, right? And still, what happens? They can't even agree. He's bad. He's bad. Don't get me wrong. He's bad.
Yeah.
But now even the Democrats are protesting him for not being the only saving grace is for John Fetterman, right?
Yeah.
The Democrats hate about him. You have to be. This is the biggest problem. That's what I'm saying. Like they can't get out of their own way. In order to be a Democrat, you have to be all the way crazy. There's no half crazy in the Democrats. You have to be all the way crazy. We saw this with Tom Keene recently.
Yeah.
He sent out a tweet, right? And he was like, hey, in support of... So the tweet was in support of repealing the abortion ban in Florida.
Yeah.
Right? So he sent out a tweet. Get this. Tom Keene sends out a tweet in support of repealing the abortion ban. And he gets smacked down by other liberals saying that he did not go far enough. And it was like incessant attacking. It was like constant. They were killing him over sending out a tweet saying, and this is what they said. Okay, you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm going to read it because I can't. You can't believe it. And I know this is kind of going away from where we were going, but this is pertinent because you'll see what they say. It's incredible. So I have so many replies here. I get a lot of replies from trolls to because I'm trolling somebody. So here's what I said to Tom, or here's what Tom said. I'm not going to read it. My official statement on Florida's 6-week abortion ban. And then he writes something, Tom Keene statement, or whatever. He makes a statement, he's against it. Then some freak, a freak show, a walking freak show. We had her at a school board meeting recently. She's some organization. Her name, I'm not going to mention her name, but she has the rainbow flag. Then she has the trans flag. Then she has the Palestinian flag after her name. So it tells you already everything you need to know. Yeah. And here's literally what she says. Trans men and non-binary people need abortions too, Tom. Did you not consult anyone in the LGBTQ plus community before you wrote this? You were endorsed by queer orgs. Act like it.
Wow.
Okay? So, I mean, hilarious. It's hilarious. I responded, Tom, you and I don't agree on practically anything ideologically, but here's why the world laughs at your party. I'm sure Carlos Guillermo Smith is in line at the murder factory, Planned Parenthood, dying to get checked out. They can't handle that you're human. Go Army. He's in the Navy. He's a Navy guy. So, this is the problem. You can't. Now, if it was anyone more to the left, they would hand this seat right back to the Republicans.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So this crazy person, she would be the person that the Democrats would love because she's all the way crazy. Right? But then that would hand the seat right back to the Republicans. I mean, this is a very choreographed dance that they're doing right now to save this seat, and any normal person in the Democrat Party gets kicked out, and here's the proof.
Yeah, and just real quick, John. This is the reason. The reason you got Tom Keene is because of the push for Erica Booth. Never forget that.
Well, what push though? Like the party pushed for her, right?
The party pushed.
And then the Republicans rejected her. It was a Republican protest vote.
It was the people here in Osceola County, in Orange County, that did not believe in Erica Booth. That's why we got Tom Keene. And the Democrats bringing in John Fetterman as their keynote speaker, that shows you how much Florida is in play to the Democrat Party, the DNC. Because if Florida was in play, you would see Kamala Harris, you'd see Pete Buttigieg, you'd see all of the quote-unquote stars of the Democrat Party show up to this event, but they're not showing up. None of them are coming. They have one of the Parkland shooting survivors is going to be there, and Fetterman, and some of the Florida Democrat people, but you're not going to see any of the national Democrats here. Florida is not in play. Don't believe it for 1 minute. It's just a joke.
I mean, I think that you would think that the people that they do send is going to be about money, right? Like they need to raise money from Florida still, but they can't get themselves together. No. So yeah, you might as well have somebody that makes no sense when they speak, like John Fetterman, because the party itself makes no sense, right?
He's a good stand-in for Biden. I mean,
he's a good stand-in for Biden, exactly. It doesn't matter what he says; it's not going to make any sense. Nobody will understand it. How can you offend somebody when nobody can understand you? So, I mean, it's just a craziness. It's a crazy show.
Like you were talking about, John, the divisions within the Democrats right now. There's already a petition out right now to cancel the invitation of John Fetterman to the Leadership Blue and call for a permanent ceasefire. They had to include that in there, in their
So
petition.
we just said there's a Jew problem, right, in the Democrat Party, that they don't know how to treat Jewish people or have respect for their faith. And now here you are, like half of the party's demanding that this ceasefire while Israel is protecting itself. You can't get it right. You can't get it right. It's too many. There's a biblical saying that you can't serve too many masters. Right? You have to, and that's not a biblical saying. It's in the Bible. But the fact is, the Democrats aren't serving just two masters. They're serving every master that is evil on the planet. It's like they can't pick just one. Addiction, they love, right? No. Crime, they love.
Drugs.
Sex, they love. Drugs, they love. It's always everything negative is what they're proposing. It's what they're advocating for. Now, war, right? You can add war to the list. And now you can also add just like genocide, which is what's going on in Israel right now, right? And the true genocide is the one that the Israelis have been having to deal with for decades and decades and decades. So not the fake genocide of right now. No. It's the Democrats are really, it's just a disaster. They're a walking S show, you know?
Yeah. So this petition, John, it starts off, it's very long, but it's addressed to Nikki Fried, chair of the Florida Democrat Party. We, the undersigned members and supporters of the Florida Democratic Party, come together with deep concern and disappointment over the decision to invite Senator John Fetterman as the keynote speaker for the upcoming Leadership Blue meeting. Fetterman's recent actions and statements, particularly regarding the Israel-Palestine conflict, are fundamentally at odds with the values of equality, justice, and peace that our party upholds. And, there's a lot to this. But anyway, it's Fetterman's alignment with divisive rhetoric and abandonment of progressive principles have sparked widespread outrage among constituents who demand accountability from their representatives. His steadfast support for Israel's actions, coupled with a dismissive attitude towards voices advocating for a ceasefire and equality for both Palestinians and Israelis, have deeply troubled many within our party. And that's basically the basis for this petition, is his support of Israel.
I mean, it's not even like support. It's not like he's a Zionist himself.
No,
and he's like a super, he's just, I mean, I don't even know where he stands because I've never understood anything that he says. But he's just a normal person that has opinions that diverge from some of the craziness in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, he basically said that we should support our allies, and that he's getting all this flack for that.
And it goes. It's just crazy. You can't disagree with any iota. You can't be even partially normal in the Democrat Party. It has to be all the way crazy, and that's why Florida's not in play, right? Only crazy states will support crazy parties like like California, where you're allowed to poop in the street. If you're allowed to, that's the new dividing line. If you're allowed to poop on the sidewalk, right? If they have to create an app that tells you where somebody pooped on the sidewalk, chances are you can be all the way crazy.
Yeah.
But in every other state, you're probably going to lose this election.
Yeah, absolutely. So one person you won't see at the Leadership Blue Gala, John, is Taylor Swift. But Florida Democrats are targeting her fans, and they've been sending out texts to her fans. It's unreal, John. But we kind of suspected this was the way they were going to go.
Yeah, they're dying for her fan. Here's the thing: she's got more Twitter followers than President Trump does. Because what else do 13-year-olds have to do?
No.
I mean, this is crazy. But to think that all those people are going to vote, listen, they're not all going to vote. They're not all going to vote. So I mean, it's a waste of time. 18 to 30, they're not going to vote. They're not going to vote. You have to vote before 7 p.m. and they're not getting out of bed before then. So. It's just not going to happen. Taylor, this is so dumb.
Yeah,
it's so dumb that some. I mean, she's not even a kid. She's a woman now. She's like in her 30s or something, right? But it's just this is not somebody who should be influencing our elections.
No, not at all. But they feel that's the case, and they're going to go for her fans. They sent out this text that says TAYKE, take back Florida. Just ridiculous, John. Going after these kids. This text is being sent out, and it's been sent out a couple of times. Haunted by cheating Republicans and tortured by the prospect of another cruel summer in Florida. Join the Democrat Party and their calls. Fighting for Florida can feel like one hell of a drug.
That's our favorite, right? Drugs.
They love drugs, urging voters to support Amendment 3, which will legalize recreational marijuana, and Amendment 4, protecting abortion access in the state's constitution. In 2024, we can fix Florida. No, really, we can.
No, really, because people aren't joking. They have to actually disclaim that, right? They have to say, no, we're being serious. We're not joking. Yeah, dear, you might as well be joking because nobody believes that. Nobody wants to state. There's a vision cast here by the Democrat Party, and no one wants that vision. No. Who would want to live? Nobody wants to live like an Escape from New York, Like nobody wants to live in that world. But that's what the Democrats have to offer, and why is that? You got to wonder why that is, why they would settle on that vision. No. It can't be successful.
No.
It won't be.
No, and it won't be. No, not at this point.
No. I wanted to give a quick shout out to our friend Chris and Shane and Caroline. Thank you for visiting Florida. We hope you enjoy it. Make sure that you, if you move down here to the Sunshine State, make sure that you register with the right party.
Yeah, absolutely. So Matt Gaetz, qualifying just happened.
Qualifying just happened, federal qualification period.
A couple of things have happened. So Matt Gaetz drew a challenger in his race.
Matt Gaetz?
Yeah.
Who in the right mind would challenge Matt Gaetz in District 1? Congressional District 1 is as safe for Matt Gaetz as it is for his dad, who's running for the state senate.
Yeah,
there's absolutely no way. There's no chance that Matt Gaetz.
I was shocked that somebody would file against him, but this guy has.
What kind of person is going to challenge Matt Gaetz? I mean, is he a super hardcore Republican guy?
Well, I mean, this is what we know, John. He is his name is Aaron Dimmock. He's a former U.S. Navy pilot.
Okay, that's good, right? Yeah. I guess he's served his country. Okay.
He's serving as the director for leadership programs at the University of West Florida. Is seen as a more conventional and affable Republican
conventional candidate. What do people mean by conventional?
I guess they think that he's less divisive than Matt Gaetz.
Divisive than Matt Gaetz. Yeah. I see. Okay.
So, but Dimmock's entry into the political scene is marked by his clear contrast to Gaetz in both temperament and ideology. Despite being a newcomer, Dimmock is already facing criticism from what they're saying are far-right factions. Actually, it's it's the MAGA movement within the party.
Never mind.
Particularly for his previous endorsements of diversity and inclusion initiatives.
Oh, okay, never mind.
His social media posts supporting Black Lives Matter and commitments to DEI.
Black Lives Matter, DEI, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's Mr. Dimmock, and yeah.
Who could be behind this?
I forgot to put the headline up first, John, and here it is. Florida Republican backed by California Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy aims to unseat Matt Gaetz.
No wonder. Oh, yeah. That would have been helpful at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mike McCarthy from California, the former speaker that got ousted because he's a rhino, has put in a super rhino to go against Matt Gaetz. Now, how much money is he going to get from the lobbyists, do you think, throughout this country to unseat Matt Gaetz?
Oh, I would say a ton of money.
He's going to get a ton of money. And Matt Gaetz doesn't take money from lobbyists.
Yeah.
Right? No. So he's fully funded by his voters, his constituents, and Americans that support him. He's not funded by lobbyists. Now you're going to have basically it's the lobbyist against the people. Right? That's what this race is all about. And this guy supports DEI? I mean, come on. You're going to run against Matt Gaetz and CD1 supporting DEI? Okay, DEI is not bad. It's okay. No, DEI is great. Okay, fine. But Black Lives Matter? You're going to support Black Lives Matter? You're going to put a Republican who supports Black Lives Matter against Gaetz? What are they thinking?
Yeah, and it's well known that Matt Gaetz is fully entrenched within the MAGA movement. There's no chance that this guy's going to win.
There's no chance.
They can throw as much money as they want. President Trump stands with Matt Gaetz, and that's it. I mean, no chance.
No chance.
No chance.
No chance.
No chance. But somebody who might have a chance, John.
Somebody who might have a chance. I like the chances here in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And if this person can go away for a long time, Debbie Wasserman-Shultz, let's make that happen. Lieb recently told the Floridian that he is strongly considering a late entry into the Republican primary, and he has now paid the required $10,440 to qualify to be on the primary election ballot. According to Federal Elections Commission records, Lieb, who is Jewish, filed his principal campaign committee on April 19th and paid the filing fee with Florida's Division of Elections on April 24th. His campaign committee is chaired by retired insurance executive and Jewish leader Rachel Sapoznik from Hollywood, Florida. And Lieb will now face retired Air Force General Chris Eddy in the Republican primary election. If Lieb wins his primary election, the stage would be set for a Jewish American versus Jewish American matchup with Debbie Wasserman-Shultz. And I think this is the matchup that we need, and the time is right now to get her out and get her out for good.
Yeah, that sounds like a tough primary too, right? Possibly two good candidates. But in the end, okay, so first of all, let me say, hey, Karen, thank you for watching. If you're going to have this is what makes these primaries so tough, right? Is because you put good people against good people. And I don't know the people in this race. I don't know the dynamics of this race. But sometimes, the Republican Party is not about identity politics, right? Republicans don't like identity politics. We don't want to hear that you're going to win a race because you're Hispanic or black or white or whatever. We don't want to hear that. Now, no matter what, the demographics play a part in races. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. Demographics play a part in races. We know that, right? Because it matters statistically. It's proven it to be. So even though we don't like identity politics, you know who does like identity politics? Democrats love identity politics.
Absolutely.
So why would we go? You don't always have to take the hill from the front, right? Sometimes you want to go around the hill, right? You don't always have to climb over the wall. Sometimes just walk to the door that's down on the left, or on the right, right? Preferably on the right. So you don't have to make it harder than you have to in order to win some of these elections, and a lot of times we make it harder than is necessary. No. And so maybe this is a good matchup. What better victory than to get rid of Wasserman-Shultz?
Yeah.
Right? That's a gigantic victory.
She's been there forever. And just to get rid of her, I think, like I said, John, the time is right now. The sentiment among Jewish people with the Democrat Party is not in a good place.
It's a disaster. They just said, even the race that they did, that they wouldn't change it for Passover. Yeah. And then you have what's going on in Palestine. On all our college campuses, you have Democrats paying people to go protest on behalf of Palestine against Israel. You think that right now to put a Jew guy against another Jew woman, they've got squarely. Let the Jews duke it out. Yeah. They're going to decide for you, and then those races are going to tell you a lot about the national politics later, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I like to say I might send a contribution to that guy. Just I like his chances. I hope that he does. Go duke it out. We need every community in the Republican Party to actually go and start putting forth good candidates. Yeah. The Hispanic community, the Black community, all those members of these self-described groups need to get on board here and start pushing and bringing home all these groups.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, John. So the Broward County Sheriff, John, state investigators are seeking to suspend him over broken public trust, John. All right.
What? Okay, so let's see. Who is this? It's not Sheriff Lopez, right?
No. It's Gregory Tony.
It's not Osceola. Yeah. At least we're not getting in trouble in Osceola County. All right. At least it's not Osceola County.
Yeah, not this time around. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is asking a judge to suspend Broward Sheriff Gregory Tony's law enforcement certification for 6 months, saying he broke public trust by not accurately filling out driver's license applications. All right, so the FDLE is a statewide investigative law enforcement agency that handles investigations into officers. Their case against Tony is one of 2 state investigations into his conduct. In the first case to come to a ruling, Tony was untruthful in his answers when obtaining a replacement license in Lauderdale Lakes in 2019, according to the FDLE. And a second case that is still pending with the state's Division of Administrative Hearings surrounds alleged lies and omissions on forms that led him to his first job in Coral Springs and ultimately his rise to sheriff. Very interesting.
So, go ahead.
You know, he is running for re-election this year. He was praised by Governor Ron DeSantis last year as one of the good ones. And, he was appointed, I believe, by Governor DeSantis.
So these seems like pretty silly things, right? The guy lied on an application for a license, and then the guy lied to get his first cop job. What were the lies, I wonder, right? So are these huge things? We literally have a president right now who plagiarized his entire law school career, right? He lied about where he graduated in his class. He said that he graduated in the top half. He graduated like near the bottom. Okay, he lied about being raised by French, Italian, German, Hispanic, Black, Puerto Rican, Jewish communities. Okay, the guy lies every time he wakes up in the morning. The first thing he does is say good night. Okay, This guy is a huge liar. This guy lied on a couple of things, and I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just saying, what is the real reason? Because politicians don't get in trouble for lying.
Yeah.
Politicians lie all day long. We have a county full of politicians. They do nothing but lie to us.
Yeah.
So who is this guy?
Well,
why is he getting in trouble for real, right? That's the question that we need to be asking. And I suspect that he's embarrassing somebody.
Yeah.
And that might be why.
I think that's why, John, I agree with you. Some unsavory photos turned up earlier this year of Sheriff Tony and his wife and things that they participate in, John. There is one right there, and I probably should have put a disclaimer before I put that up, but nothing's really showing there. But this is at a swingers party, John. And this other picture here is at another swingers party, and that's Sheriff Tony and his wife.
Jeez.
Yep. And I imagine that's pretty embarrassing. Laura Loomer dug those up while the campaign was in full swing before Governor DeSantis dropped out. And,
Well, so that's what it is then.
Yeah.
So obviously the issue is that he's embarrassing, right? That he's way out in the public. Like, first of all, that's his right. That's his right. And nobody's saying that what he's doing is illegal, okay? But it is embarrassing for people around you, right? Like, people who hold elected office are held to a higher standard. In Osceola County, they're not held to a higher standard.
No.
In fact, there's a very low ceiling, right? Like, you're not allowed to be a decent human being if you're a politician in Osceola County.
No.
But you have in most places, you have this perceived higher standard of behavior and so on. And so I think
respect.
this is an embarrassment to the community. And that's why you got people probably calling DeSantis all day being like, hey, come on, this is embarrassing to us. So
and I think that the Republican Party of Florida has had enough with these kind of antics and shenanigans that are happening. They've been embarrassed one too many times already by things like this, and just talk about our next story. The transcript from Ziegler's sex video has been released, and it includes, once you read it, you realize why they didn't pursue the rape charge. And, we're not going to go too much into this because it is beating a dead horse. He's not the chairman of the Republican Party of Florida anymore. He's done. His wife is still on the school board down there, there were salacious details in that. It was a 1 minute and 44-second video.
Tom loves this part. Tom loves this part. So, we were talking about it in the shows here.
There's a lot of what's in that we cannot put on the show.
Yeah. We want to be sensitive to the fact that, number one, he's not the chairman, so we don't want to... The main story, we don't want to be overly salacious. The idea is that this is why he wasn't prosecuted, right? So we appreciate the transparency. He's not prosecuted for this. And then, boom, they put out a whole bunch of, details out there and stuff. And And that's it is what it is. So
yeah, the texts were out there. You know, the texts were in this that pretty much proved he was innocent. You know, that this was consensual. It wasn't rape. It wasn't anything like that. I mean, even at the end, and this is one of the things that was said. You know, Ziegler professes in this video, which was under 2 minutes, that it was the fastest he had reached orgasm in 30 years. The woman responded, "I ain't even that good." So there you go. That's why he didn't get prosecuted for rape.
yeah, there was obviously there was dialogue in that video.
Yeah, quite a bit,
and that exonerated him essentially. Now, I would like to see that kind of transparency on our case for Melendez here locally, right?
Yes,
like I want to see those transcripts because at the end of the day.
That's what, you know, John, that's what I appreciated about this situation is that we got the transparency, we got the transcripts, we see what happened, and it's clear to me why he wasn't charged. Okay, I get it. But now we're going to talk about this when we get into the Osceola County segment, but we have a similar, not a similar situation, but a questionable situation that happened here. And this guy, I mean, basically he went to court.
Well, it is a similar situation.
It happened
it's a
in 1
battery.
week and 3 days, okay? And yeah, all right. Well, let's just get into Osceola County. But first, this important message from John Arguello.
Come on, guys.
Come on, guys.
Come on, guys.
Still don't have an answer to that. You know what? Do we want to talk about that now, or do we want to just go along with the
No,
show?
let's just go along with it.
All right.
I forgot this.
All right, so we'll get back to what we were talking about there, because believe me, we'll get fired up for that again anyway. This new pretrial bill could cause overcrowding in jail and cost taxpayers money, or at least that's what they're saying. John, here's a video. We'll watch it.
This new law you've been looking into, it has wide-ranging implications.
Yeah, Darlene, it costs roughly $68 to house an inmate, and some of those fees get passed on to you. Now, the public defenders that I spoke with who work with a lot of cases in here said this will only get worse, even overcrowding some of the jails.
It was a surprise when the governor, on his own initiative, wanted to have 5 days.
5 more days to potentially sit in jail. A new law blocks repeat offenders and people arrested for specific felonies from pretrial release before seeing a judge.
The most problematic about the new 5-day hold is it jumps up the population so much. And even if you got floor space, a lot of inmates sleep on floors, on mattresses.
Good.
And nobody wants to do that.
Previously, judges had the discretion to
do that.
Nobody wants to do that.
Nobody wants to be a victim to a crime either.
Exactly. You know, and if you did the crime and you got busted, then yeah, you shouldn't be in great conditions.
Release an accused person if the circumstances warranted it.
Second-degree felony, your bond is set at $20,000.
Now, a person arrested for any of these 26 crimes may not be granted pretrial release, and lower court judges cannot reduce bail beyond state set limits, meaning more people are behind bars after arrest, but before trial, costing more money.
The county and the sheriff are responsible for the medical care, for anything that happens.
As for that cost, roughly $70 a day per suspect in the jail, a cost passed on to taxpayers. Now, because every case is different, it's almost impossible to see how much more it would cost taxpayers. However, the state said in its own analysis that it would see a direct impact of defendants in jail before their first appearance or trial. We're live in Orange County. Darryl Matthews, Channel 9.
You know, John, this doesn't bother me at all. And you know what? If this is what my tax dollars are going towards, you know, making sure that the streets are safe for, you know, my family, my kids, I'm all for it.
Yeah. There's like, I have the same like gut reaction. Like, I'm okay with them going, I'm okay. That's fine. You get in trouble like this, you especially with a felony charge of some sort, then, it's okay for you to spend a little time in jail. Yeah. The issue for me is really like, number one, who wrote this legislation? Was it a lobbyist, and was it the lobbyist for the private jail administrators? Yeah. Right? So that's one question I have. And if it was, okay, I'm not offended by that. I'm not like, oh my gosh, it was somebody who wrote. But you have to read the law, and you got to make sure that it's not completely just discounting the impact that it has on American families, right? Because in the end, there's one question that needs to be asked when anyone is writing any legislation. How does it impact the American family? No. If this is good for the American family, then great. If it's bad for the American family, then great. If it's good and it's bad, what's the net positive and negative? And so those things have to be asked about this kind of legislation. I don't know and we don't know what it's going to cost. Yeah. But we do know that Florida has a huge surplus, unlike California that has a $70 billion deficit. We have a huge surplus here. So, how much of that surplus is it going to take?
Yeah, I mean, especially when you see how much money that our government wastes all the time, whether it be local government, federal government, they waste money all the time. But like I said, if they're going to use this money to keep bad people off the streets, I'm all for it. No problem.
That's the issue is, right? Like you can, but then we'd have to get back into like the line item, like this is a waste, this is a waste, this is a waste, this pay to the county commissioners in Osceola County, that's a big ass waste of money. Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Tens of millions of dollars to Neo City, that's a waste.
Yeah. It seemed like this report was just kind of drawn up to anger people about this or make people feel a certain kind of way, but no, not at all. Makes me happy. So, Osceola County, and shame on you, Channel 2. Shame on you for this headline, for this story. Osceola County surpasses Orange and Seminole ranking for students making it into college.
This is a sham.
Duh.
This is a sham. I mean, they should be, you're right, they should be ashamed of themselves because this is absolutely a sham. This is, I mean, if you gave out free pants to everybody in Osceola County, everybody's going to be like Pants Day. Oh, great, free pants. Everybody always wears pants in Osceola County. Nobody ever wears shorts in Osceola County. Only pants because they're free, of course. Yeah. So now you're sending kids. Number one, you're not giving kids a choice. Number two, you're not giving them the imperative, the impetus to go out and blossom. You're keeping them here in the same place, doing the same thing. And you're doing it for who? Who's the benefit?
Valencia Community College.
I think that's the biggest beneficiary. That's the biggest beneficiary. Yeah. And then the guy who was the government affairs for that, nice guy. I know him. Great guy. I'm not saying anything bad about the individual. But that guy who was government affairs for Valencia is now the big top dog at Neo City, at the development and the agency of Neo City. So what is that? That's rotten. No. That's rotten. And these rotten issues, man, they got to end at some point. It never stops. It's always something ugly. It's always, nothing can be positive on its own, right? If you're going to give our taxpayer money to Valencia Community College, right, or to kids to go to college, then you should just write that check out to the college of that child's choice, right, to that student's choice. Why are you hamstringing him to go to one school? Because you're not benefiting the kid. You're benefiting the school. And there's all kinds of other things wrong with it. I don't know. There's a lot of things I want to say that I hold back on saying regarding this issue. I'm a big fan, and I want you to understand, I'm a big fan of Valencia College because Valencia College is it's a high quality place of education. Right? There's no doubt about that. They offer high quality educational experience. They have high quality instructors. They have high quality education in general. They have high quality opportunities for students. They have high quality management. They have high quality everything. That's a good organization. Valencia College is a great institution, okay? But you did not get permission to take the taxpayer money and then write a check to Valencia College for $8 million. You didn't do that. So then you can't do it. Because if you don't get permission, trying to manipulate the population into paying huge money, huge $8 million to another entity, that's money laundering. So you can't do it. And to me, that's what it's like. They're taking advantage, and they should be taking advantage. They should be getting permission from the community to get those things done. And the community is too easily to manipulate in Osceola County, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is the truth. So this is the video that goes along with this story. We can watch it real quick.
A pretty big milestone this afternoon. Yeah, a lot to celebrate. It's seeing a large increase in the number of people attending
journalists,
college.
man, they don't ask
in
any
2010,
questions.
it ranked 61st in the state for college attendance. The county now ranks 4th. Channel 9's Daryl Matthews is live outside of the Valencia College campus there in Kissimmee. And Daryl, you learned what's behind this great trend.
Yeah, Darlene, it's the county's Prosper Scholarship Program. It's free tuition to Osceola Tech College or Valencia College. And when you have no out-of-pocket costs, the college going rate goes up.
Couldn't be any more convenient.
So
So
I do
let
like
me
this
do that.
reporter.
Let me go to Valencia.
For Mika Santalis, standing
I like
on a
this
college
reporter.
campus was
He's
far from
a very
reality
fair
after
reporter.
graduating from
I
Poinciana
give
High School.
reporters based
Personal
on
family
how
matters
much
and
they
money
adhere to
problems almost forced her to step away from the books
responsibilities.
and focus on
He
life
normally
outside
does
the
that,
classroom.
Yeah.
Let's
I was really lost. I didn't know what to do. And then I remember they had all the seniors like go to the auditorium. They're like, oh, so now free college. I'm like, wow.
The promise of free tuition, also known as the Osceola Prosper Scholarship Program, helped her get on the road towards a degree in business management while staying close to family and being debt-free. In 2010, Osceola County ranked 61st of the 67 counties in the state for high school graduates who went on to college, and the scholarship program has helped change that.
I think it also speaks to the power of working toward a common goal and staying the course.
Osceola now ranks number 4 in the state for college attendance, surpassing Orange and Seminole counties. The program has been around since 2022, and after being voted in by commissioners to use county federal.
I can't even wait until it's done. We're at near the bottom in terms of graduation rate, and we're the highest in terms of college going rate. What does that tell you? There's a mismatch in the system here, right? We're graduating fewer kids, but we're sending more kids to college. There's a problem here. These things aren't meshing. They don't make sense, Like if we're in Florida, right? We have lakes all over the place. When you drive a boat onto a boat ramp you're going to tow it out, right? The trailer, right? The shape of the trailer takes in the boat. Things normally make sense like that. Now imagine if you have like a bunch of spikes on that trailer. The boat's not going to go on very easily. That's everything in Osceola County. It just doesn't make sense. That's how you know there's ulterior motives. That's how you know that there's other things going on. If they cared about education, why would this be happening like the way that it is?
Yeah. And I could have sworn that before Osceola Prosper started, that the attendance rates at Valencia were very low.
I think it was down. I think it was suffering big time.
Yeah. And, they came up with this Osceola Prosper program, and now all of a sudden that's not a problem.
Yeah, don't tell me that that's not a deal. And here's the thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be nefarious, right? Of course the college is going to try to write this deal. I mean, what college wouldn't want to write this deal? Every college would love to have every kid in the high school go to the college. That way you increase the size of your empire. There's nothing nefarious about that. It's just a business at the end of the day, right? So of course they're going to do that. But the problem is that that's taxpayer money. And because that's taxpayer money, the county commissioners have a different set of responsibilities than to make that deal with the school. And I wouldn't doubt, knowing our county commissioners, I wouldn't doubt if they got something on the back end, right? Yep. Maybe not a direct bribe, right? Because they're dumb, but they're not that dumb. But somehow, some way, something. Believe me, these guys don't do anything for free.
Yeah,
they don't do anything.
They do get one benefit, John. When they go for re-election, they can say.
You mean they're buying votes?
We've seen many examples of that.
Yeah,
this is just one of them.
You got Brandon giving away free trees. Yep. You got Brandon giving away free food. You have Brandon giving away free college. What do you think he's doing? He's buying. And then what happens? He gets to stay in office because of all this free crap that he's giving you. And then he takes your taxpayer money and he gives it to his daddy, right? $1.5 million since he was elected. That CM Associates, right? They're a contractor they're a vendor for the. So Brandon Arrington's father has a engineering company. They've had, since Brandon Arrington has been a county commissioner, they've received $1.5 million in taxpayer money. Wow. $1.5 million worth of taxpayer money. Brandon Arrington's father, I think if I'm correct, somebody correct me.
CM Arrington and Associates.
Right. So that's his firm, and he gets gotten $1.5 million. So there's one thing, right? Then you have their good friends. They have good friends that build roads here, right? They've gotten a ton of money, tens of thousands of dollars they've gotten from them. Tens of thousands of dollars they've gotten from them, right? Now you're saying that there's not something else that this is. It can't be. The explanation can't be just that Brandon Arrington and Ricky Booth are morons. That can't be. That's not enough of an explanation, right? No. There has to be something else going on. I think we're going to talk about it.
They are far from morons, and I think...
No, I don't think they're that far from morons. But the people who they deal with, who tell them what to do, they're not morons.
Yeah, they're not morons. So this next story, John, and... Osceola County and developer plead with the state for help to ease traffic congestion. And the headline of this story is a lie.
Read the headline. Osceola County and developer plead to state for help with traffic.
Yeah, Commissioner Booth would like construction of Turnpike interchange expedited. And, okay. So this is the area that they're talking about.
Wait a second.
This used to be Green Island Ranch. Now it's being called Waterland.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
Not now.
So we're going to do a turnpike exit where there's nothing, but all the traffic is in other places.
Yeah.
Okay, let's watch the video, I guess.
Yeah, well.
Or you got more?
I was going to talk a little bit about it, but on the eastern side of the county, 17,000 homes. That's what's going in here at Waterland. Wheelock Communities began construction of Waterland. It's a master plan 6,000-acre community on the shores of Lake Toho. It'll include multiple districts and neighborhoods. Now, this used to be Green Island Ranch. This was owned by the Parton family, which is part of the Booth family.
Yeah. They were county commission. They're on the county commission now. They were on the school board.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much they're on all these.
The Parton family sold this land for $150 million 2 years ago. This is Ricky Booth's family, In addition to the residential development, Tesla plans to build the nation's largest electric charging station near Waterland at the Florida Turnpike exit in the Osceola city of Yeehaw Junction. So that's in relation to where this is going to be. It's going to be around that area, Yeehaw. On the turnpike.
Is there a lot of action out there in Yeehaw?
No, there's nothing out there.
So why would you build that at Yeehaw right now?
Well,
do we have traffic anywhere else in the county?
Yes, we have plenty of traffic on Old Canoe Creek Road, and Commissioner Booth, who oversees the district of Waterland, wants to push Florida's Turnpike Enterprise, which operates toll roads in the state, to expedite construction of an interchange that could alleviate congestion. And this is the BS part of this, all right? In part by allowing new roads to connect to the turnpike. This is a quote from him. I would say that it needs to happen today. It actually should have happened yesterday. I'm going to continue to stand against large-scale development.
This is on his land.
In the area until we have an answer.
Land. Listen, this is on his family's land. I would say, wait, put that back up.
Yeah.
I have to read this again. Sometimes I can't believe the crap that they say. I would say, that's first of all, who says that? Talk about telegraphing what you're going to say. You're already saying it.
Yeah.
I would say that it needs to happen today. It actually should happen. Yes, it actually should have happened yesterday, Boo said. I'm going to continue to stand against large-scale development. This is his family's land that they sold for development. Yeah. I'm going to continue to stand against large-scale development. They just sold this land so that they can build 17,000 homes. What is he talking about? This guy is the king of development.
Yeah.
He's the king of development.
He is. He absolutely is. And
then he just got $12.5 million from the state just recently so that the state could buy the developmental rights. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Talk about having your cake and eating it too.
He said he voted to approve Waterland because the developer signed an agreement requiring construction of roads within the community before homes are finished.
Oh, really? That's why.
Really?
That's why.
Really?
Yeah, that's why. Really, it can't be. You know, you were going to vote against the property that your family sold. Is that right? You were going to vote against. There was any chance that you were going to vote against the property that your family sold for $17,000. The whole reason they bought this from you is because they had your vote.
Yeah.
And that's what they do, right? These developers are buying this land because they know that they're buying the land and they're buying the vote at the same time.
You know, the fact is that Waterland is selling their homes. On their website, they are selling their homes with easy access to the turnpike. So they're telling people that are going to buy that they will have easy access to the turnpike. And in this wake-up call video that I put out, I think I put it out last week.
We should watch it.
Yeah, we're going to watch it. Okay. Commissioner Booth pleads with the rest of the county commission to expedite this turnpike exchange and to build it off Waterland Boulevard. All right, so that's supposed to be the main road within Waterland, that they will have a turnpike entrance right inside of Waterland. And this place, Waterland, is half the size of St. Cloud. That's how big it's going to be. It's huge. So let's watch that video, John. Here it is.
Commissioner Booth. There we go. I don't really need to pull this item. I just wanted to make some comments and maybe get them out in the public and hope that our staff hears and hope we get some consent. But I know it's over in our district, Commissioner Grieve, well, mainly mine, but really close to yours. I just think as a commission,
man, that receded hairline.
We may need to push forward to the decision of where the overpass for the turnpike is going to go. That's going to be a big decision for them. I just wanted to see, and then maybe transportation, and I don't need a comment today. I'm just putting these comments on the record. If we could prioritize that decision and not wait for the PD&E and maybe get the ball moving on that, because PD&E can take several years sometimes. We've got really heavy congestion right now. And even though we're changing the Kissimmee Park to the Nolte, it's basically the same interchange. We've got heavy congestion in that area, and we've got planned on-ramps there. But I think Waterland wants to partner, and I hope the county wants to partner on maybe moving something forward a little faster in that area to relieve some of that congestion.
All right. Number one. All right. And then I love that he's bringing this up. He's saying that this is going to relieve some of the congestion off Old Canoe Creek Road. This is not going to relieve any congestion from Old Canoe Creek Road. It might relieve congestion that's coming out of Waterland once those houses are built, but it's not going to help the traffic that you and I and everybody that lives in St. Cloud, that lives south of the city, has to deal with. It's not. That this turnpike entrance that he's speaking of, that they want to expedite and build quickly, is so far away from where the traffic is that we deal with, that if they were to build this interchange tomorrow, it would not make it would not make a difference. All right, it would not make a difference in any traffic for any person at all, except for maybe the big rigs.
It does make a difference. It makes a difference for Ricky Booth.
Yeah, it would make a difference for him because he lives out there. It would make a difference for the big rigs that are leaving the ranches and stuff that are out there. But it wouldn't make a difference for the citizens, the actual people that are dealing with traffic day in and day out in St. Cloud. It would not make one iota of difference whether they built this exchange tomorrow or 10 years from now. The only thing it's going to help are the people that are buying homes in Waterland that are being promised by the developer that they will have easy access to the turnpike. So it's just a total lie.
Especially as homes and residents come online in the Waterland area. And so I guess having that access at the Waterland Boulevard that's planned, and maybe trying to push some of that forward. I just want to put it on the record. I'm not trying to create a long discussion or anything. I just want to know where everybody knows where I stand, and management staff does know where I stand. So
that's a new interchange you're talking about. That would be
the new interchange at Waterland, and those are planned, and those are in the.
And let me remind the folks at home that the traffic that he's speaking of on Old Canoe Creek Road, that is in Cheryl Greaves' district. Cheryl Greaves' district is half of St. Cloud. It's from Canoe Creek west into Kissimmee. So Cheryl doesn't care anything about the traffic. You could see she's just like, oh, are you speaking about the... She does not care about the traffic on Old Canoe Creek Road. And this traffic's been there for years now. It's not anything new. You know, although Ricky's bringing it up and talking about it like it's something new, but he's only doing this because he's trying to appease the developer and get the developer what the developer wants, which is this turnpike and exchange.
It works, but I do believe we've got to push. We need to work together. I want to push our staff to push the Turnpike Authority to move forward, and we've got really heavy congestion on Old Canoe Creek Road. If we had...
He just keeps bringing it up, you know.
Some other
He's
north
begging.
on, south
He's
off
begging.
in that area. I mean, I think it's vital. If any, you've heard me vote no on some of the development in that area, and this is exactly why. We've got 2-3 mile backups there in the morning, and if we don't, 10 years down the road is not soon enough.
Yeah, he has not voted no on any developments in that area. I've never seen that happen.
I mean, he sold the land for $100 and some odd million so that they can build 17,000 houses. I mean, that was his family that did that. So how is he going to talk about development now? His family is the one that's basically benefiting from this crazy development now. I mean, it's this stuff is, I can't believe this is happening. It's like a movie. This is like Aaron Brockovich happening right before our eyes, They're poisoning you and poisoning you and poisoning you. We're finding out, what, you're losing your hair? What, your fingers are falling off? What is going on here? Well, it's the county commissioners that are doing all this. It's them. You've been drinking that water from St. Cloud. It's them. It's the county commissioners doing all this. They're the ones. Now, they may not be pulling the strings. They're having their strings pulled. But these guys answer to a different set of rules and a different group of people that have different interests than you and I who are raising our kids here have. And that's super important for you to remember come Election Day.
Yeah, absolutely. And just think about it. They've become millionaires, multi-millionaires over the last 2 years because of the deals that they've made happen. And this Waterland thing, it just stinks. It's terrible. You can Google it yourself. You can Google Waterland. You can go to their website. You can see what they're promising people. They're telling people that they buy a house in there, they'll have a 20 minutes from Walt Disney World. That's what they're
20 minutes from Disney World? You can't. It takes 40 minutes to get down 2 miles of John Young Parkway. It takes 2 miles to go down Neptune Road. It takes 20 minutes to get down Neptune Road. 2 miles down there. I mean, there's no way. Listen, they're selling promises, right, that nobody can keep. Why? Because the county commissioners have already sold everything. Like when somebody, this. I think this is something that Americans, understand well. Debt. No. Like when you have debt and you just got to carry that debt over. You got to keep moving it around. That's what the county commissioners have done, and now it's coming to a head. They still have to sell that land.
Yeah.
They still have to sell all that land, right? That's the one asset they have. They have to sell that land. But you know what? You can't put any more cars because you're hours and hours and hours. Now, to get from Kissimmee to St. Cloud takes 40 minutes.
Even if they were, let's say all those houses in Waterland were built, and they built that turnpike exchange out by Yeehaw or wherever Commissioner Booth wants it to be, which is actually on Waterland Boulevard, you still have to widen the turnpike out at that area because out at that area, it's still, 2 lanes going this way and 2 lanes going that way. You'd have to expand it to 3 lanes or 4 lanes. It just doesn't make any sense what he's saying. What he's doing right now is he is just pandering.
He's pandering, yeah.
He's trying to get this so bad. He's begging on behalf
of the developer.
Yep, and it's all about the developer. It has nothing to do with you. If you're angry about the traffic on Old Canoe Creek Road, you need to take that up with Cheryl Greaves especially next election. She's up for re-election again.
I mean, take
She
it
does
out on
not
Ricky
live in
Booth right
Kissimmee.
now, because
She
he's
does
the next
not live
door.
in St. Cloud. She lives in Merritt Island. Take it up with Ricky Booth. Just like he's up for re-election. Unfortunately, nobody's running against him. But
sure, there will be. There better be somebody.
I hope somebody does step up, because somebody needs to. Enough's enough. We
And then
need
he
to
puts
end
his
these
wife for
dynasties.
District 35.
Yeah.
I mean, these people are shameless. So he was on the school board. He was a disaster of a school board member. We're having a conflict of interest with his first cousin as the superintendent, voting on her contracts, I think, right? Yeah. And then he leaves. He goes to the county commission. He puts his wife. First of all, he puts, I think, his mentally deficient inbred cousin, puts him in the school board seat. That guy's gone now. I'm not even going to mention his name, but at least that's just my impression. I don't know. I'm assuming based on performance. And anyways, then he leaves, and then she gets put in. I mean, come on, his wife, come on.
I think he won that county commission seat because people were hopeful.
Yeah.
Because he was a St. Cloud guy. He grew up in St. Cloud.
Yeah.
He was, his family is one of the original settler families. We thought that he was going to protect and preserve St. Cloud.
Yeah, you'd think that he would have cared.
He's been there for 4 years at this point, and he has not done anything to help preserve
Nothing
St. Cloud.
positive, yeah.
Nothing.
Yep.
Nothing.
So get rid of him.
He sold the developmental rights to Heart Bar Ranch to the state of Florida, all right? But like we had talked about on the last Florida show, that doesn't amount to a hill of beans, because everything around them is zoned for multi-use. So once you build out all around Heart Bar Ranch, whoever they sell it to is going to go to the state and say, hey, look, everything around me, it's not a ranch. It's a business, or it's homes.
That was a $12.5 million gift from the state to a guy who's probably done favors for the state, I imagine. I don't know. There's no way. There's stuff going on behind the scenes, but come on. You're going to give... First of all, a county commissioner gets $12.5 million from the state. All right, how is that proper? Did every other rancher out there get the chance to sell his land, the developmental rights for his land? I know that there's ranchers out there who would never sell their land. Those would have been better candidates, right, for that developmental money from the state, because they weren't going to sell it anyways.
No.
So that's a great reward, because we're not going to sell the ranch anyway, so why not sell my rights to the state for developmental, right?
Yeah.
So, but Ricky Booth, who absolutely is a development guy and would develop his own backyard or his grandmother's backyard, okay? But instead, he's a county commissioner, so he has the access. I mean, he's an influence peddler.
No. All right, some other bad news that came up this week, John. FWC gave final approval for the toll road to be built through Split Oak Forest, and
this is a
we
shame.
have a little video about that. Here it is.
Final approval for a toll road to be built through a portion of prized conservation land that's been protected for 3 decades.
The road will cut through the bottom 60 acres of Split Oak Forest in Osceola County. West News' Megan Mulatto joins us live from our Osceola County Bureau. Megan, dozens of people spoke out against this today.
Yeah, that's right. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission heard from about 40 people this morning, including conservationists and also a local county commissioner. The significant majority spoke in opposition to this, saying this is a bad idea for the long-term health of this wildlife area.
86% of Orange County voters in 2020 expressed their opposition to any impacts that would harm this forest.
Orange County Commissioner Emily Bonilla was among the dozens of people speaking out about a toll road being built through Split Oak Forest, which spans Orange and Osceola counties.
On November 28, 2023, Orange County, in a 6-1 vote, made a statement that it is no longer supports the impact on the forest by the road construction and will not sign to amend any of the interlocal agreements between FWC or FCT.
The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission ultimately voted to approve a deal that would release 60.
Hold on here. We want to look out here. So y'all here in this crowd. There's Debbie Rambis right there. She's running against Brandon Arrington. There she is in the back with the flowered blouse. And I think that that's worth pointing out because, hey, listen, if you're a Democrat, you need to go talk with Debbie because she's locked in a primary against Brandon Arrington. I'm a Republican. I don't vote in that primary, but I have met her. She's a decent woman, just like I can say about Tom Keene, right? Tom Keene is a decent human being. He's not a monster, right? At least not that he's shown me to be. And Debbie's the same thing. Her husband is a retired lieutenant colonel in the Army. I think, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have said that because I don't know that I thought that was based on memory in a brief conversation. But I know that he is a retired Army officer, which is the best kind of officer to be. And she was a retired person who used to work for the federal government. So if you're a Democrat, go out and look her up, check her out. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm just saying Brandon Arrington sucks.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Local agreements between FWC or FCT.
The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission ultimately voted to approve a deal that would release 60 acres, allowing the Central Florida Expressway Authority to build the road, in exchange for the agency pledging $43 million to restore and maintain more than 1,500 acres donated by developers, providing lasting preservation of that property and the nearly 1,700 acres of split oak, and to buy more conservation land.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? One. So the motion passes 6-1.
This comes after several negotiations and public hearings. The topic first put on the table back in 2012. Many locals worried about the impact and threat to wildlife have been suggesting an alternative route or an elevated roadway. One of their biggest fears is having this set a precedent.
If this land is given away today, what is to stop this from happening again and again in the future?
But the commission sees the deal as beneficial. They say the property could eventually be eminent domained anyway, meaning they wouldn't get the additional land or money.
If we do nothing, do they just come in an eminent domain and we get nothing? We don't get 1,550 acres. We don't get $23 million to restore it. We don't get another $18 million for additional Florida corridor.
Now, the timeline for this project is still up in the air as there are many steps that would need to be taken before construction could begin. For now, we're live in our Osceola County Bureau. Megan Mulatto, WESH 2 News.
All right, so you'll see a lot of Democrats coming out in favor of split oak forest, and I support it because the voters did not want this touched. You saw 86% of voters, in Orange County, voted that they did not want this land touched. They want it preserved like they said they were going to preserve it forever. Mm-hmm. And obviously that didn't happen, and we all know why it didn't happen. We know it's because Tavistock wanted a toll road out there.
Oh, they wanted a road for Sunbridge, yeah, not a toll road. CFX was like, hey, you and me, we make a beautiful couple together, right? So, and Brandon Arrington, who's like the villain of some kind of Marvel villain, came in and says, hey, I'm your guy. I'm your guy to destroy a forest, This
was another way that Osceola County wasted your tax dollars, was fighting this battle. They fought against Orange County for this road. And it's another way they wasted your money.
I mean, I'm really pissed about it, just because, like you said, the community was very clear. This was a bipartisan, bi-party kind of unity here, where the citizens did not want this to happen, and they were just like, to damn the citizens. Yeah. We're gonna make this happen because corporate interests overrule. Well, I mean, that's not great. That's not great, and somebody should have stopped it, really.
Yeah. So, guess that battle is over.
I mean, they make everything more expensive because they help their friends anyways. They could have made this in a more expensive way that didn't hurt the citizens so much. Yeah. And you got to allow the citizens to save face because they have short memories. I think that, voters have short memories, but they can also be very resentful and unpredictable. And hopefully they come out and that's a consequence, So that's Ricky Booth right there. Same thing. That's in his district, right?
Yeah.
So Ricky Booth, on both ends of his district, he's just screwing everybody.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so this headline changed a couple of times this week, John. I mean, it was over in a flash. I mean, it was the court. It started then there was something got thrown out, and then it was over. And this Osceola County School Board member accused of kissing an 18-year-old found not guilty of misdemeanor battery. And here's a little video.
Just into our newsroom, Osceola County School Board member Julius Melendez has been found not guilty in his misdemeanor battery trial. Melendez had been accused of kissing an 18-year-old woman against her will last year after giving her alcohol and inviting her to his house. The teen had been working at a cafe that Melendez helped manage. He had previously been charged with giving alcohol to someone under 21. That charge was dropped. Again, he's been found not guilty tonight.
Okay, so number one, he didn't just help manage there. He's co-owner of this place,
right,
with my primary opponent nonetheless. And they're friends, they own it together. And, I know that they may have signed something on paper, but just recently during a workshop, Julius was saying that he was still owner of that restaurant. So according to Julius, he still owns that restaurant. And I think that they did that just so that they could relieve themselves of some of the liability. But that's me, assuming, making an assumption. So, but here's the thing. We can't comment about the facts of this case because we didn't know. We didn't read the transcripts. I didn't look at whatever. Right. I saw the girl's complaint. Did you? Do you have the girl's complaint by any chance?
No, I don't have that.
So what we got to do is there's going to be some investigation into this race, and we're gonna go through piece by piece and look at it and really check into it. So he was found not guilty. I didn't see any of the evidence. Here's what I've known Julius for many years. Almost 3 decades. In my opinion, this would not be something that's out of character for him necessarily, right? I was not shocked I'm shocked that he would be so dumb that he would allow, in my opinion, and I've said this before, I think this was a setup. This was a setup to get rid of Melendez, okay? Why? Because Melendez is a super undependable vote. Not because he won't tell you. He'll, in my opinion, what I truly believe that Julius would sell himself for half of a sandwich, okay? Not even a whole sandwich, a half-eaten sandwich, Julius will sell himself like that, okay? That's my opinion based on knowing him for the amount of time that I know him. And I think that he does that with votes. He's always making promises. Oh, if you run for this, then we're going to do this, and I'll make you chairman, you make me chairman, and then I'll do, No. And if you know Julius, that's how he speaks. And so I think that this was a setup because of that. Because Julius will tell you he's going to make a deal here. Then he jumps away and he does another deal there. And then he jumps another deal. The people that he makes promises to are dangerous people. And they set him up, in my opinion, to get rid of him. The problem is that Julius got himself in that setup very easily, right? Yeah. He brought this girl to his house. Okay, what happened? I don't know. He was found not guilty. So what happened there? I don't know. But why would you bring an 18-year-old to your house? Yeah. Right? And this whole whether the drinks, one of the charges that was dropped was that he was giving her alcohol. And then somebody was saying that it was a technicality that charge was dropped because they don't have an alcohol license. So it doesn't count. It can't be the charge.
That does not make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me either. It doesn't make sense that the technicality doesn't make sense. That would be the rule doesn't make sense to me either. So I don't understand all those things. I think that we need to learn about it first before we make big, deep comments on it.
Yeah, I definitely want to understand what happened here because I expected this to go on a lot longer than this. It was over in a flash. I mean...
Oh, I thought it was going to be really quick. I thought it was going to be a 1-day trial, a 2-day trial. But, the issue is really... what does that mean? Like, what happened, right? Like, I knew it was going to be fast, but it would have, I'm not going to say that I wish that he was found guilty. Yeah. But certainly this didn't leave anybody feeling like we have a good person on the school board.
No,
right?
no.
It still feels like we have a dirtbag on the school board. It doesn't make anybody feel good about who we have on that school board, right? It just doesn't do that for us.
Well, I think whether or not this happened or not wouldn't have changed your opinion of how he votes on the school board.
I know him too well. I know him too well. I know him too well to feel good about it. I don't feel good about him being on the school board because, I know him. Yeah. So his voting record, of course, there's nobody on there, to me, You look at Teresa, she's totally mentally unstable, it seems like, and she's a nutcase all the time. And, she makes everything, and she's a super liberal, right?
Yeah.
And then you have Heather. To me, in my opinion, this is just my thoughts and my assessment, that Heather is completely bought and sold by the developers, by Clarence Thacker. Clarence Thacker has her in his pocket. That's my perception of, just my observations. And Melendez is just so desperate to be loved by anybody that he's willing to sell himself to anybody. And that's just, again, my personal assessment based on my observations and experience. And, it's sad. So you can't feel good, about the school board when these are the people making decisions. And, they make mistakes, and the mistakes that they're making are forgivable. Mistakes are always forgivable, but the intentions and the reasons and the motivations and the motives are not always forgivable.
We definitely need to find out more details about what happened here, what exactly transpired that made this case just be dropped and the previous charge be dropped. And I think we all knew that the most egregious charge, would probably, he would be found not guilty, because it was a he said, she said thing. You know what I mean? It wasn't, you can't prove something like that beyond a shadow of a doubt. But the initial thing with the alcohol, I don't understand that. Does that mean that a 40-year-old man can give my 18-year-old daughter alcohol?
40? He's like 47.
Oh, well, I'm just saying, I'm not talking about him in general. I'm just talking about a man, a 40-year-old man in general can give my 18-year-old daughter alcohol, get her drunk, and he can get away with that.
Yeah.
Does that doesn't make sense to me. I mean,
no, it really doesn't. And like I said, there was no good outcome here, right? Either somebody gets in trouble, but either way, somebody made a mistake, or somebody's being falsely accused. There's no winner in any of this, and it's a sad thing. I don't like the guy. I think he's a snake. I think that he's a wimp. I think that he's a failure, of a school board member, and he, has let down his community, and he's a cheap political prostitute. That's how I see him. So, and a very cheap. The worst kind is a cheap kind, right? So, it stinks. It stinks. There's no winner. There's no winner in all of this. And here's what you can do though. Never put yourself in a position where you can be accused of wrongdoing of this nature, right? Yeah. This is not like a mistake that anybody should make. If you read the complaint by the accuser, right? This is horrendous, a horrendous image. It paints a horrendous image. And so, it's just, why put yourself in that situation, especially when they're after you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're after you. I'm not surprised at all that he was set up. I feel like many times that I've been set up, right? But never have I I would never find myself in a position. Never say never, right? Because you let's say you see somebody with a flat tire and you pull over to put air in their tires, and all of a sudden some kind of crazy happens. But it's just. But the circumstances, not like helping somebody with a flat tire.
No, completely different. Those are apples and oranges, John.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, and finally, John, Sunrail is celebrating their 10-year anniversary. Can you believe it? 10 years, John. 10 years, and they're asking if a $4 billion expansion will pay off for Central Floridians. Yeah. This is the thing, and I think we talked about this before when they were talking about Sunrail. We brought it up on one of the past Florida shows. Sunrail hasn't paid off. It can't pay for itself. And now we're looking at $4 billion to expand it. There it is. There's the beautiful Sunrail, and it's nostalgic, that's for sure. It's a great thing if you want to go for a ride.
Yeah.
But to use it as a mode of transportation day in and day out, there are some issues that surround it.
It's not that. Yeah, it's not that. It's certainly not a. Okay, so there's one choice. You have to work either near the Sunrail at one of the stops, right, where it stops, like Meadowwoods or wherever. You have to be like right there, right, because there's no transportation to and from, and you got to have it accessible, right? Or you work in downtown Orlando, and this goes all the way to downtown Orlando. It drops you off in downtown Orlando, and then you work there, and then you ride it back. You could do that, and I'm sure that there's people that do that. But we're talking about millions of dollars in the red here. And now Osceola citizens are on the hook to pay for this stuff, this money.
Yeah.
But our county commission is giving away $8 million for free college tuition. So, okay, you're going to do that, but then how do you do this?
Yeah.
How do you do both? Are you going to start operating the county at a deficit? No. What happened is that they're increasing the tax base. They're charging you more money, right? All these costs are raising money. All this money's coming in. They're flush with cash. So do they have the money to pay for this? Probably, right? They have to spend all this money, but they want more money to come in. So they're going to start doing some kind of projects like this, even if they never turn around a benefit to the people in large numbers, because they need to spend that money. They can't, they can only steal what they can afford to spend without being discovered.
Yeah, no. And, John, some of the problems that people talk about, their dissatisfaction with the Sunrail is that it doesn't run frequently. It's usually late.
It's not on the weekends.
And doesn't run late. And on weekends,
not to the airport.
It doesn't, go to the airport. It doesn't run on the weekends. I mean, there's
significant It's made for tourism. It's made for tourism and downtown commuting. That's it.
No.
And now they're going to make it more for tourism by putting it, creating this extension that goes to the theme parks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's all great, but then let the tourists pay for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. If you have it from the airport to Disney, that would make a lot of sense.
If it had a track, like if they had built it to the airport to begin with, then you'd see people using it all the time.
Yeah, you'd see the tourists using it.
You'd see tourists using it all the time, and you'd also see citizens using it, because when you go to fly to the airport, instead of park and pay, you go and you take the train, get dropped off at the train, and go there. Right? I mean, instead of driving yourself to the airport.
It wasn't used properly from the get-go. So, I mean,
Well, I guess they had to use tracks that were already existing.
Yeah, that makes sense,
But, I mean, here's the thing. This is not... I mean, I don't know. I like this. I like the Sunrail. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I took my kids on it. My kids liked it. My wife likes taking it to Winter Park. It's not that it's bad. It's just that the use... We're paying tens of millions of dollars, billions of dollars for something that's not getting much usage. It's like buying a Ferrari, right? You don't drive a Ferrari on the daily, right? So if you're gonna buy something like a Ferrari, then you gotta have the money to be able to afford that luxury, right? A lot of people could afford to buy a Ferrari, but you can't afford to drive it, right? And that's the situation that Osceola County is in, which we should have known. Right, we bought the Ferrari, but now we can't afford to drive it. We're losing money.
They sold this as a traffic solution.
This
was going to take cars off the road. It was going to make a big impact.
No, we all knew that was BS.
And it was a huge, expensive misjudgment of how to spend taxpayer money and selling it to the voters in a certain way that didn't pan out. There's big decisions coming soon, John, about whether the train, is worth the money or whether it isn't,
Well, I don't know what decisions they're going to make. We know as long as you leave these county commissioners in office, they're going to spend a quadrillion dollars if they need to on all the projects, because they can never admit that they were wrong about anything.
Yeah.
Right? So they have to. They'll sell your kids before they'll admit that they're wrong.
Well, Sunrail has cost more than $1 billion so far, with $432 million spent to acquire its track corridor and $627 million to build and equip, and requires tens of millions of dollars annually to operate. Yet it still carries a paltry few thousand riders daily. And those are the facts. I mean, I wish that we could paint a prettier picture of this, but there isn't one. There isn't one.
Someone sent me a GIF of what do they call it? South Park GIF of somebody beating a dead horse. I don't know what dead horse. I think we beat a lot of dead horses here. Okay, like the horses come here to be beat.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the purpose of the show. But I thought that was pretty funny. So I don't know what horse we were beating on, but.
There was a few tonight.
There's a few tonight. We beat a lot of horses to death tonight. So.
There's a few tonight. So that is it, John. That's all we got.
Oh my goodness!
We
Listen.
landed at an hour and 37 minutes,
Yep.
so we didn't go to 2 hours. That's a good thing, but you know.
Yeah, we could have put in more stories and gotten the 2 hours. Believe me, there was a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
But we were beating dead horses all night, so maybe we could have gotten it done in a little bit faster. Listen, we really appreciate you. This is Unsanctioned Florida on behalf of School Board Member John Arguello, your Republican candidate for State Senate District 25, and my good friend, Citizen Tom Lord. We're very grateful for you. Please like and share. My Facebook account was restricted again, so I can't really make use of my Facebook account for a while. Who knows what's going on with Facebook? We can't wait for Facebook to fail and something else to come along. But anyways, so because of that, I couldn't share it. Please like and share the show so that we can get the viewership that we did. We did have a good number of people watching, and we have a good number of people watching on other platforms. So Thank you. We appreciate that very much. God bless you. Have a great night. We'll see you next week.